Hi, I'm Rob and this is Gems of War. In this video I'll be quickly going over what I think is good and bad in the Soulforge. But first of all, I just want to mention something which greeted me this morning when I first turned on the game. It was a fantastic offer. I mean, look at that. 45 quid they're trying to say for one Noisha medal and 200 gems. Wow, I mean, I know the odds of getting a Noisha medal seem to have gone down to almost zero at the moment. A lot of people in the chat saying things about, you know, they've been doing tons of explores on level 12 and things like that and getting nothing on Noisha medals for a long time now. And it's like, well, these things vanished? No, they haven't vanished. They just want to try and rip you off and make you spend 45 quid one on top of Christmas to get one instead. I mean, that's shocking. That's really bad for me. That's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. And I've been to Thailand. So, yeah, don't recommend buying that. But if you're really, really desperate for a Noisha medal, then Merry Christmas to the devs. Right, anyway, on with the actual Soulforge review. But first of all, as I recommend every Monday, pop into the shop, make sure you grab the weekly troop. This is the Ice Spire Shaman this time around. He costs 300 glory and deals light splash damage to 2 random enemies boosted by blue allies and enemies. So we've had some really, really good troops the last 3 or 4 weeks, but this is a bit of a return to normality with this one. He's nothing special at all, but still obviously worth collecting. And if you can, obviously get enough to boost him up to Mythic straight away, which is always worth doing because you get a ton of extra gold, glory keys, arcade blade trait stones in this case, and other stuff besides. Whilst you're there, you may as well pop into the Spoils of War, and if you have the spare Mythic, spare glory, grab the maximum allowed amount of 10 of those, because you get extra event keys, gold and souls too, and you may as well spend that glory on something. Right, now to the Soulforge correctly. These are the only 3 new ones here. All the other ones are in other Soulforge videos, so there's no point repeating myself. I'll just go over these ones quickly then. So Ice Aegis steals attack and armor from an enemy, and if the enemy is a boss, freezes all enemies and barriers all allies. So yeah, nothing special weapon there which you're gonna buy, craft and then probably never use, but that's the point of half the weapons. Most of the weapons in this game, and a lot of the troops, just never get used. They're just there for completists' sake and trying to collect everything in the game. Doomed Hammer deals heavy splash damage to an enemy plus 4 per tempering level, stuns all blue enemies and cleanses all blue allies, explodes 4 gems, and if the enemy has a doom, explodes 3 more. So super situational. You have to be in an all blue team against all blue allies to get the most out of this. I don't really like these doomed weapons that do this kind of thing. I much prefer the ones that, for example, change a colour gem to a doom skull and do heavy damage that way, and they cost the same amount. But again, if you've got the resources and you've collected everything else in the game, you may as well get that for completist reasons, but otherwise I would not particularly recommend it. And Axe of the Storm removes all blue gems and deals damage to an enemy boosted by gems removed. If the enemy is from Stormheim, deal double damage, so nothing special there. And the rest of these, as I said, are there in previous Soulforge videos. Now, same as Leonis Tower, Hattai Ascendant, and a few others like Zul'Goth. I'll just go over the ones which aren't in other videos. Mambasira is okay, deals 22 to 44 damage in my case to 6 random enemies. She's got 6 arms. She just reaches 6 arms, just reaches out each one and gives everyone a heavy poke, and that's it. I'm done. The traits are okay. All green allies gain 1 to all stats at the start of each turn. I've had 2 of these in the team before, so you get double that effect, and it can work okay, but it's just very random on the damage. And yeah, it's a kind of okay mythic, but nothing fantastic at all. Who else have we got here? Guard's Avatar. It's pretty good. Deals what looks like a low amount of damage to all enemies boosted by my armor. Burn undead and silence daemon enemies. Nothing fantastic in the traits. But similar to Rowan, the damage is massively increased by the armor. So if you put this in the team where you can increase his armor quickly, it can be really devastating and cause a hell of a lot of damage. The other 2 that are here is the Possessed King. Bit of a Jekyll and Hyde character really, this one. The spell is absolute rubbish, but the third trait is absolutely amazing and is better than the spell, which is a really, really weird thing to say. Deals damage to all enemies, boosted by both daemon allies and enemies. Then there are 3 separate 20% chances to transform a random enemy into a daemon. The trouble with that is, when you cast that sometimes, a lot of the time the game just transforms somebody who is nearly dead into a more powerful enemy that was there in the first place, and so this spell can actually heavily go against you sometimes, and it is generally not worth casting. The main reason for having this guy is that third trait, explode 2 random gems on 4 or 5 gem matches. Basically, if you've got a predominantly green, blue or purple team, or any team really, that basically the first 3 slots are the main people that do your damage and mana generation in the team. So basically you got troop 1, 2 and 3, the main people on your team. You don't really need somebody in the 4th slot, but you've got somebody, you know, you've got to fill up the team with somebody. Chuck this guy in there on any team that's like that, and he will do you a hell of a good job on causing an extra amount of mana generation, which can be really surprising how much of a difference that makes. Again, in Guild Wars that works well as well. A team where you got like the first 3 troops doing the main, how the team works, if you know what I mean. Put this guy forth and he will help out in a big way as well. Psychorex is good. Doubles a chosen colour gem on the board, and then creates 3 more gems of that colour. Then give life to all allies of that colour. So imagine like a forest troll who doubles green and then creates 3 more. This guy does that, but you can do it on any colour you like. So it gives life as well to all allies of that colour. So basically there will typically be 1 dominant colour on the board, and you can choose that. And if there's 10 to 12 of them, you've got a very good chance of getting a 4 match and giving a bunch of life to all allies of that colour. So the only thing about this can be a slow troop to use, especially on Guild Wars days. You're going to be using this and you will lose points, because every action, which is every spell you cast, you can repeat cast this and get tons of 4 matches in a row to boost up your life up on all the team really high, but it will cost you some points that way because it is slow to do. But it is largely in your control. You can actually keep on going with this and just get your life wildly into an extremely high number and be safe knowing you can win the battle with this guy. So he is good. The others are here all the time, but ranking wise I would say the Possessed King is the best, and that's really weird because that's just because of that third trait. And Psychorex I would say second, but the other 2 are more like fillers. Mambasira, if you haven't got her and you've got the other 2. Guard's Avatar can work really well in some teams as well. Quickly go over the legendaries quickly. Gloomleaf steals armor and 5 attack from all enemies. That's actually quite good, because when you steal, you take it away from the enemy and add it to yourselves, which is pretty neat. As well as that, his third trait is pretty decent. Reflects 50% of skull damage. Quite often the enemy will kill themselves when they hit you, which is always fun. Saguaro deals damage to the 2 weakest enemies and gains 10 life and attack. Meh. Who? Charybdis. Yes. Him. Her. Whoever. Deals damage to the first enemy and last enemy, and then there are independent 10% chances to devour the enemies. So, and that's boosted by +3 for each submerged ally and enemy. So that increase of that devour can go up, but devour seems to be getting slightly less reliable these days for some reason. Like Kraken used to be used a lot, and now it just isn't, because it just doesn't seem to happen very much. But on to the next one, the Ghost Queen. Pretty rubbish spell, but the main point about her is that awesome third trait. If you have an undead dead team, you kind of need this at the bottom there. All undead allies start with 50% mana. But again, as I say every week, I wouldn't recommend crafting any legendaries. They do pop up in chests a lot more than mythics do. So yeah, so there it is. There's the quick Soulforge review. If you found it useful or helpful, it'd be cool if you considered liking and subscribing if you've not done so already. But most of all, thanks for watching. See you again next time. Bye for now.